We're talking about the Colorlight card. Cue the epic build video. Hi, welcome to Canispeder Christmas. All right, this episode is not only exciting, but it's also thrill-packed. So exciting and thrill-packed. Now, we're going to be talking about, as you probably surmised, panels. Now, this particular, all this stuff came from Ken at wiredwatts.com. So Ken, thank you for sponsoring the video. Thank you for sending me this stuff to play with. The main part of all this is this card right here, which I will get into in just a minute. But he's got these brackets. He's got this little this bracket that I mounted the Colorlight card to. He's got this, make sure I don't get tangled up in my wire. He's got this center bracket that kind of holds four of them together. This, I believe, you can use for if you wanted to mount a power supply to this, and then another end bracket. He's also got these power T's, I guess, or power Y's, to hook up two panels to the same lead. So I've got two of those. I've got the ribbon cables, and then of course the Colorlight card, which is what we're going to be talking about most in this one. So the first thing you need to do is configure this Colorlight card, because it has onboard memory or an FPGA, and you can, you make some settings, you save it to the card, and then you can use Falcon Player or Xschedule to play to it. So the first thing we need to do is use the you can get the LED Vision configuring software for PCs only. You can get that off of their website. Ken has got a link off of his webpage that shows these things, so the link may change, so that's why I'm not going to put it in the video. So go out to Ken's webpage, look for the link, download the software, and then you can configure it. So let's do that. Okay, so what I have here is 4 panels in a 2x2. So here's one panel, there's the second one, here's the third one, and here's the fourth one. And so if you look close when you get these, they have 2 squares. So this is 32 pixels by 32 pixels. So this is 64 by 32. So this whole panel is 128 by 64. So keep all that in mind. We go to the computer, we want to open the LED Vision software. Now, this is going to be probably the most frustrating part of this. And you'll see that my cursor shows up on the panel. So that's what this little thing is here. So the first thing you want to do, and all this stuff changes pretty quickly, so you may see actually different options here, but this is how you set this card up. So in my software, the first thing you want to do is set the screen size. So I have set mine to 128 by 64. Now if you set these to 0, it puts this thing way up in the corner there, so I have moved it down here. That's why we have an X and Y offset, but you know, it can be whatever you want to be. Like, watch. See it changing? Okay. And then you hit apply, and there you go. Now we get into actually configuring the card. So back up to control, and LED screen settings is the current option that I have. And we have this super secret password. Don't tell anyone, but it's 168. We'll enter 168. We get in there, select net card. Use net card, auto select. It's using the gigabit NIC in my computer. Now if you don't have a gigabit NIC in your computer, you need to add one. So either add a card in there or get a USB dongle, whatever. It has to be a gigabit NIC. And then I can just detect the cards that are on the network. So my card is on the network, it found it. That's all good. So the next tab here is on mine, receiver card parameters. And so these settings will not be correct, so you'll have to set it to whatever your panel is. Mine is 128 by 64. And what you want to do is hit load and preset parameters. And what I did on mine was, these are P5 panels, so I set it to full color 16 scan. If you happen to have different panels or whatever, you can look through here if you know what they are, and maybe it'll have specific settings for yours, but it basically just makes changes to these settings here. And then the next thing you do is go through the intelligent setting. So click that, and so what that does, actually this is wrong, let's go to what, 128. Make sure that is correct, because you will see that later. Full color is the LED display type on these panels. And you don't have to touch anything else. So you hit next. And so what it's going to do is it's going to test some things on your panels. So right now it's cycling automatically between 1 and 2 here. So 1, it's black. And when it goes to 2, it's white. That's all it's testing right now. I guess if you uncheck this, you can do it manually, but hit next. Again, 1 darker than 2, and there's options here. If it's like 1 is brighter than 2, obviously you'd change it, but 1 darker than 2, so that's 1. 2 is a little brighter. Okay, we're gonna go with that. And then it will cycle through the colors, make sure that the color order is correct. You may need to change these. So it goes through red, green, blue, and black. Good. And then how many rows are lighting in the module? And that's 16, so that's correct. Now how many rows are lighting in the module? Well, that's 1. Okay, that's correct. So then we get this grid. And if you look at the little panel, there's 1 little LED flashing there, so that's 1. And so when I click that, the next one lights up, 2. And as you can see, this would be pretty monotonous. So what you can do is click and hold, and you can just drag it. And what it does is it starts filling them in as you're dragging. Now, if you mess up and move your mouse and you skip a few, and then you know, oh, that's not right. See, this is 53 and 54 is way over here. That's not right. So click back. And okay, so now we can start with 54, and we can keep going. So you can correct this, and you really only have to put, oh, I missed one. Back, all right. Can I go all the way? Yeah. All right, 81. So be a little careful with this one. Whoops. it gets easier. Oh. 3, and the last one. And so now the next whole row lights up. So you go back over here. And now when you click, it just assumes everything is correct. So it's a lot easier. So you can click and hold and just drag it down, and it'll fill in all those rows for you. Once you get to the end, you hit finish, and you are done, except you need to save to receiver. So what this does is it actually writes it into the onboard memory or the FPGA. I'm not really sure which one, but it does write everything that you set up to the card. Now that's actually incorrect. This says 16. Kind of height is 64. Let's save it again. Software is not the greatest, but it does work. Okay. So now we got that tab done, and then we go to the next tab. And so here, let me reset this. So here is really kind of how you set it up. So I've got this set up as 2 strings of 2 panels each, so 2 and 2. And our height that's going to be 32 here because one of these panels is 32. And so I've got 2 of them for a total of 64. So I've got row count 2. I've got height of 32, but the width of 128. And I believe that works. So I'll save it to device. And if everything works, your cursor, you should be able to see your cursor follow along all over the screen. So if you can do that, then you know you've set it up correctly. If not, you're going to have to go back in and play with it a little bit. But the big takeaway here is to make sure that you save to receivers on both of these tabs. And when you're done with that, you can close it and you're done. I hope that wasn't too traumatic for you. It only took me about 12 tries and I finally got it. So hopefully you had better luck than I did. But if you can move your cursor around on the screen and it shows up on the panels, then you're good to progress to the next step. The next step starts now. Let's go into X-Lights and I'll show you how I modeled this. I'm using 2020-33. And so on the controller tab, I've defined a set of a null. I've added a null, set of null pixels. This starts on channel 1, but you can start it whenever you want, wherever you want to. I've got 24,576 channels. How did I get that? Well, it's 128 by 64, so 128 times 64, and then multiply that by 3 to get the channel count. And so you just enter that in here. And then on the layout tab, I created just a matrix. That is 64 strings of 128, 1 strand per string. Now you do have to change this to top left, and this has to be horizontal, or unless you have it oriented differently. But so I've got it horizontal, I've got top left here, and then for the sequence that I'm using, no, I don't want a new one. Matrix. I've got this beautiful butterfly effect. Everybody likes the butterfly effect. So that's the sequence that I created. It's 30 seconds long. It's just a butterfly effect on the whole matrix. So I saved that, got the FSEQ, and loaded that up into Falcon Player. This is the latest that was out there tonight, so 4.1. I just created a playlist with this Matrix FSEQ. The part that you'll probably be more interested in is go to LED panels on the output tab. Enable that. The panel layout is a 2x2. Start channel 1, 24576. That agrees with what's in X-Lights. The panels are 64 by 32 16th scan. Model starts in the top left. The panels are RGB panels. Remember the color thing, if they're different, you'll have to change that to a different color order, but these are RGB. By default, it's set to hat cape, and it'll have all this other stuff, so you want to change this to Colorlight. And the interface is ETH0, which is the Ethernet port. And then down here, because I selected 2x2 up here, I get a 2x2 down here. We're looking at the front view. My Colorlight card is over here, and I've got this one plugged into port 1. This is number 1, and then I daisy chained this one off of this one, so this is P2. And then this one is plugged into output number 2. It's the first one, and then this is daisy chained over to this one, so this is output 2, panel 2. And hit save, and it'll probably tell me that I need to restart FPPD, which it does. No problem, we'll restart it. And then if we go to play this file, we get our beautiful butterfly effect on the panels. All right, now, but Jeff, what if I'm using X schedule? All right, well, Scott has actually written a plugin for X schedule. So if you go to Computer Geek 1507 Colorlight plugin, and I will include a link to this in the description of the video. Right now, this is the latest pre-release, this V4 DLL. We did find, I was talking with him tonight about this when I was running through it, and there are 2 Microsoft Visual C++ redistributable packages that you need. He may package that up, and so this may be a little different, but the DLL is what you need. You download it, you unzip it, you move the DLLs into your X-Lights folder, and mine was in Program Files, X-Lights, and you just copy the DLLs into this directory. And then when you run Xschedule, you can select this Colorlight plugin, which I have selected, and then it brings up this dialog box. So here's the fun part. Expand this box, because what you need to do, before you get in here, before you enable that, you need to create a matrix. So go into Edit, Matrices, Edit, and so I created a P5 that is 64 strings, 128 on each string, 1 top left horizontal, and so that will take the null pixels. Basically, null just means it's not going out over the network. It will just be played locally. So whatever you're playing, it won't spam your network with all of this data. So that's the matrix. So you choose the P5 up here in this one. This is the Ethernet interface. So as you can see here, I've got two Microsoft network adapters, then I've got this Ethernet connection. So that's the one I need. You can change the brightness. I've got it at 100%. There is a test mode, so if you click that test mode, it just cycles through the colors. Okay, and then you hit save. Unfortunately, this dialog stays around as long as you have it enabled, but you can put it behind there so it goes away. Now, the other thing that I did on this, just for this demo, is I created a virtual matrix. So we'll show you that. Again, it's the same size, 64 by 128, start channel 1. Put the window about right there, hit OK. This one is, I'm doing it 2 times the window because it's pretty small. Hit OK, hit OK. And so this matrix, if I hit play, not only does the real matrix show up, but I get to see what's on the matrix in this virtual display. And those colors don't look right. I just noticed that. I wonder if these are not RGB. I think red was blue, so let's do BRG. Save it. Okay. Green, green. I don't think it's... I think my blue and red, so it's backwards. So it's BGR. Save it. So if we look at that, we've got the red stripe. Oh, wait a minute. What happened? Oh, it stopped. We got the red stripe, or the red, yellow, green. Yeah, okay. So this is right. The virtual is off, but that's okay. Okay, we'll close that. And then I probably need to go change. Let's see. Let's stop this one. Come on. Come on. Stop. Go back here to FPP, channel output, LED panel, and these are BGR. Save it. Restart. There we go. And it's flickering because I have this on too. So let me shut that down. And there we go. That actually looks really awesome. So a couple of important points there. So each of these panels has got 2 arrows on it. And I don't know why they have 2, but they do have 2, just I guess so you can see it. So there's two arrows right here, and I kind of showed this in the build video with the little flying pencil, but I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out. Make sure all the arrows, or it's easier if you can make sure all the arrows are pointing the same way. Now if you have a huge panel and you've got some twisted for some reason and you know what you're doing, that's fine. But for smaller panels, it's just easier if all the arrows are going the same way. So this arrow's pointing up, this one's up, this one's up, and this one's up. So all the arrows are pointing the same way, and it's just the orientation of the panel. It's kind of harder to put one out of whack. So just make sure that they are oriented the same way, and you want to continue to do that. So if you're looking to make like a tune-to sign, or you're making a huge display for your game room or something, these Colorlight cards may be an option. Oh, So the Colorlight card is it does the same thing as a BeagleBone with an octoscroller. I don't actually have one here, but I can show you one through the magic of video editing. Mine is in my sign, so I didn't want to pull it out just to show you this thing. But an octoscroller and BeagleBone or a Colorlight card. So those are the two options that you have. Thanks to Ken at Wired Watts again for sponsoring this video. He sent me this stuff, and I was able to make the video for it. So go visit Ken. He's got all the stuff that you need. And if you're trying to build a panel and you don't know exactly what you need, ask. He'll probably be able to help you out. He's very good or he's very competent, very knowledgeable about all these panel things, and can help you kind of pick out what you need and then get them to you. So I highly recommend wiredwatts.com. Talk to Ken if you need, specific information. He's also done a couple of videos, did an X Essentials, and then did one of the basically the same thing at Christmas Expo. So he knows what he's doing, good guy, and can help you out if you're trying to build some kind of panel setup. Anyway, that's about it for this one. I don't want it to go too long. I know it already is. If you have any questions, leave them below. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Now, I shot an email.
So I got 6 of these, and so I got 5 of these when I started relaxing a little bit, and then BAM!